So you're thinking of moving to Fort Worth, Texas. In this video, we're going to discuss the pros and cons of Fort Worth. But first, an overview of Fort Worth. Fort Worth is the 5th largest city in Texas and the 12th largest city in the United States. It has a population of about 908,000 people, and it attracts over 8 million tourists every year. According to niche.com, the median home value is $212,000 and the median income is $70,000, and 57% of residents own their own home. But is it the right place for you to move? So we're going to talk about culture, the cost of living, recreation and activities, job opportunities and access to healthcare, universities and pro sports teams, state income tax and friendliness, weather, public transportation, safety, public and private schools, and traffic, so you can get a feel for if Fort Worth is the right place for you. So let's get started. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything about living in Fort Worth, subscribe below and tap the bell for notifications so you can be the first to know about the current market in Fort Worth. My name is Wendy Mema with Relocating to Fort Worth, Texas, and I'm a local realtor. We get calls and emails every day from people just like you hoping to make their move to Fort Worth, and we absolutely love it. So whether you're moving in 6 days, 60 days, or 6 months, give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email. All that contact information is down below in the description so we can help you make a smooth move to Fort Worth. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into our pros and cons. As I mentioned, we are going to start with culture. That's going to be our first pro. Most people are aware of Fort Worth's cowboy and western culture through our rodeos, stock shows, Billy Bob's of Texas, and the Fort Worth Stockyard, which attracts 3 million visitors annually. But not as many people are aware of Fort Worth's arts culture. I'm here in the Cultural District right now, standing in front of the Fort Worth Kimball Art Museum. This Cultural District has many different museums. The Kimball Art Museum has a collection of ancient European, Asian, and African art, as well as traveling exhibits. On the other side of the Kimball is the Modern Art Museum. Then we have the Amon Carter Museum of American Art. And we'll go down there a little later, we have the National Cowgirl Museum and Hall of Fame. We also have, over that direction, Casa Manana's Children's Theater. A little way over, we have the Fort Worth Museum of Science and History. Not to mention Sundance Square's Bass Performance Hall, which is a world-renowned performing arts venue and the permanent home for the Fort Worth Symphony Orchestra, the Texas Ballet Theater, the Fort Worth Opera, and the Van Cliburn International Piano Competition. They also have national Broadway tours there that come to the Bass Hall. The 37-block Sundance Square has many other small theaters and comedy clubs, as well as the Sid Richardson Museum, which has permanent and special exhibitions of paintings by premier Western artists Remington and Charles Russell. Sundance Square is also a host of a free, family-friendly Main Street Fort Worth Arts Festival that happens around every April. It is the 3rd top juried fine arts festival in the United States, and downtown comes alive with incredible art, fantastic music, and delicious food. So if you enjoy arts, there will be plenty to satisfy your cultural experiences here in Fort Worth. Our second pro is the cost of living. Fort Worth is an ideal place to live if you're looking for affordability without sacrificing livability and entertainment. And finding an affordable house will not be hard because there's so many different housing options available. Also, food and transportation are much more reasonable compared to other parts of the country, making Fort Worth a great choice for anyone wanting to get the most out of their dollar. According to payscale.com, the cost of living in Fort Worth is 5% lower than the national average. The housing is 14% lower, utilities are 14% higher, and groceries are 7% lower. Payscale.com and NerdWallet.com both have cost of living calculators that are very useful for comparing two different cities and their different costs of living. So go check that out. Okay, our third pro is recreation. The city of Fort Worth has this amazing amenity, which is its Trinity Trail system. It's 40 plus miles of running, biking, horseback riding trails along the Trinity River, which you can see here, and it connects the stockyards to downtown, to the TCU and zoo area, and the cultural district, and all the way, actually runs all the way down to Arlington. You can get to Dallas if you go on streets some of the time, and it goes down to the other direction, down to Benbrook. It's a kind of hazy, dreary day today, but you should be able to see behind me the Fort Worth skyline. The Trinity Trails also offers picnic areas, boat launches for canoes and kayaks, a water ski slalom course, and numerous fishing spots. The Trinity Trail is a great way to get some exercise, or even just to go on a leisurely little stroll. And right here, we're at Trinity Park, which is part of the Trinity Trail system, and it is the first park that was purchased by the city in 1892. The park encompasses 252 acres, and it also includes a depot for the Forest Park miniature train, which is a very popular attraction. It runs from near the zoo over here and makes kind of a loop back, and I went on that several times with my kids when they were young, and they really have a great time with that. There's also, back behind me this way, a duck park, so that's a lot of fun to go out there and see the ducks. Alright, so I've moved a little more interior to the park, and hopefully you can see Dream Park behind me. This is a playground that was designed to accommodate children of all needs, mobilities, and abilities. I've taken my kids in there when it first opened, and they have like a zip line where you can sit in a chair and then someone can push you. So that's kind of nice for kids who, have trouble holding the zip line or too young or whatever. Besides the Trinity Trails, Fort Worth also has fabulous lake life. Whether you want to take a boat out because you want to go fishing, water skiing, or just relaxing, having a leisurely day on the lake, or maybe you just want to hike or camp along the shoreline, then that's available also. No matter what you choose to do, there are several beautiful lakes in the Fort Worth area that you can enjoy. The park can be a great place to meet people. I sat down next to this guy, hoping to strike up a conversation, but I got nothing more than just his name, which was either Mark Twain or Samuel Clemens. I was a little unsure. His book is Huck Finn. He seemed to be more interested in that than me, so I guess it's time I'll have to move on to our next pro. Fort Worth offers numerous activities to enjoy, such as the Fort Worth Zoo, which was just voted as one of the top zoos in the nation by U.S. News and World Report. Across the street from the zoo, we're here at Log Cabin Village, which is a living history museum with costume actors who are actually doing blacksmithing and dipping candles, etc. The Log Cabin Village is a destination spot for many school field trips, as the goal of Log Cabin Village is the preservation of and education about the 19th century folk architecture and frontier life. All of my kids have had a couple different field trips here. In fact, sitting in my kitchen right now is a candle that my daughter hand dipped this fall on her 5th grade field trip when she was here. Adults and kids alike love Log Cabin Village. Another amazing activity is to go to the Fort Worth Botanic Gardens. This is the oldest botanic gardens in Texas, and it has 2,500 species of plants, and there are 23 specialty gardens. Some of the best loved features of the Botanic Gardens are the world-renowned Japanese gardens and the European-style rose garden. Many people use the Botanic Gardens as a wedding venue. I went to a friend's wedding there. The gardens also bring in special exhibits. One of our favorites was when they had Legos. They built greater than life-size animals out of Legos, and they were placed all throughout the garden for you to explore and find. And my kids and I, we all loved that exhibit. Another special exhibit they had at the Botanical Garden one year was a Chinese Lantern Festival. And they had animals that were created that were life-size or even greater than life-size, that were crafted from silk, wire, and steel. And then they would have those, you could go at night and they would have them lit up, and they were just beautiful. My favorite animal that they had created was a family of pandas. I love the pandas and thought they were so cute. So my kids and I went, and we really enjoyed seeing the animals that were created there. So they always have something exciting going on at the Botanical Gardens, some kind of special exhibit, so that's really fun for the family. The gardens also in the summer host the Concert in the Gardens, which is a great, fun, kind of relaxing way to just enjoy the gardens and its surroundings. There are many more activities to enjoy here in Fort Worth, and I have mentioned just a few. Here we are. We're actually back at the Trinity Trails. I wanted to show you this Fort Worth version of Chicago's L. This is our little elevated train. Not much, but it's really pretty. A lot of times people take their senior pictures here with the trellises, and it's really a pretty attractive scene. So let's go now and talk about our fifth pro, which is job opportunities. Fort Worth has great employment opportunities, and also to note that 17% of those who are employed here work from home. So that's a good thing if you're wanting that kind of flexibility. According to an article by FTW Today, dated October 26, 2022, the top industries in Fort Worth metro area are transportation and warehousing, which includes Amazon and BNSF, which is the Burlington Northern and Santa Fe Railway. That's why I wanted to come and shoot some video in front of this fun little railway place here in Trinity Park. Other industries include healthcare, government, retail, manufacturing, and tourism and hospitality. The top employers are American Airlines, since DFW is a hub for American Airlines, Lockheed Martin, Fort Worth Independent School District, or Fort Worth ISD as we call it, NAS, Fort Worth Joint Reserve Base, and JPS Healthcare System, which is our county hospital system. Our sixth pro is access to plenty of healthcare. There are many major hospitals that have one or more hospitals in the Fort Worth metro area, including JPS Health Network that we just talked about, as well as Cook Children's Medical Center, Texas Health Resources, and Baylor Scott & White. There's a plethora of medical doctors, including specialists in the area. We have several rehab hospitals and long-term acute care hospitals and physical therapy centers, home health agencies. So basically, whenever you might have a healthcare need, you will be able to find plenty of options here in Fort Worth. The seventh pro is several universities. Fort Worth has a wide assortment of universities and institutions of higher education. The largest, most prominent, and most celebrated in Fort Worth is TCU. You'll see their mascot, Texas Horned Frog, and their colors, purple and white, all over town. That's really hard for a fourth-generation Baylor Bear like me, but having lived in Fort Worth for so long, I've grown to tolerate it. Other universities in Fort Worth are Texas Wesleyan University, University of Texas at Arlington, which is just 20 minutes east of downtown Fort Worth. There's going to be a new branch of Tarleton State soon in Fort Worth. We have Tarrant County College, Weatherford College for Parker County residents west of Fort Worth. Fort Worth also has Southwest Baptist College and Theological Seminary, University of North Texas Health Science Center in Fort Worth, and Texas A&M School of Law in Fort Worth. Besides the amazing educational opportunities these colleges provide for Fort Worth residents, TCU is a Big 12 conference school, so that affords Fort Worth with some awesome college sports excitement in their own backyard. Things got particularly exciting when the TCU football team recently made it to the national championship game. For sports fans who want some professional sports teams to cheer on in their own stadiums, both the Dallas Cowboys and the Texas Rangers play in Arlington, which I mentioned is only 20 minutes east of downtown Fort Worth. For the Dallas Mavericks basketball team and the Dallas Stars hockey team, you'll have to travel to Dallas. But if you don't feel like driving, you can always take the Trinity Railway Express train from Fort Worth to the games over there in Dallas. Okay, here we are at Duck Pond in Trinity Park that I talked about earlier. For our 9th pro, which is we have no state income tax in Texas. Texas is only one of only 9 states that have no income tax. So that if you're coming from a state where they have income tax, that can save you anywhere from 3 to 13%, depending on where you're coming from. And our 10th and final pro is Texas Friendly. I saved that for last because in my opinion it's the best. So what does Texas Friendly mean? Well, it means you could go to a grocery store, and this happened to me just yesterday. I went to the grocery store, and as I'm going through the store, I'm looking at people, I'm making eye contact, I'm smiling at them, they're making eye contact with me and smiling at me. And that's just our way of being friendly for someone who's not used to that. Maybe a different part of the country where they don't do that, it might seem kind of threatening, but it's just our way of being friendly. And for 2 men in the store, they might get the nod. That's kind of what men do, the nod. Also, don't be shocked if you're going through the store and you're waiting in line, or maybe I've got a duck here and he's just not moving. So I'm going to have to be a little careful as I walk by here. So if you're in line at the grocery store, or if you're in line or a waiting room anywhere, don't be surprised if a perfect stranger just strikes up a conversation. That's kind of what we do here. Also, if you're out driving in the country or on a road trip, you might get the Texas wave. So you got your hand on the steering wheel, and like that's normal Texas wave, but here's kind of the more traditional Texas wave, just one finger up. So I don't know, they may not do that as much in the country. I'm here in Fort Worth now for a long time. I don't go in the country as much, but I always love driving the country roads and seeing that Texas wave. All right, look at these ducks coming here. Okay, so I'm going to have to stop myself on these pros. I feel like I could keep going and going, but I'm going to need to address some cons. So our first con is weather, especially the summer heat. It does get very hot here in Texas. We will have, especially in July and August, we will have many days that are over 100 degrees, and some people are fine with that. Doesn't bother them. I'm not one of those people. I don't like the 100-degree weather, but we've learned how to deal with it, which is everything's air conditioned. So we go from our air-conditioned house to our air-conditioned car to the air-conditioned store or air-conditioned restaurant or air-conditioned office building, and then we get back in our air-conditioned car and go back to our air-conditioned house. So basically you kind of live inside during the hot part of the afternoon. If you do want to do something outside, which we still go outside, we just go in the morning, early morning, or in the late evening. And when we go out, we put on sunscreen and we stay hydrated, especially with water, not with sugary drinks because that's going to deplete you. But have lots and lots of water around. If you start feeling hot, you just make sure you get in some shade or some air conditioning and get some water in you. The other con of weather has to do with the threat of severe weather in the springtime, which that could include occasional hail and a threat of tornadoes. I've actually lived in Texas since 1984. I've never seen a tornado. I've never even seen damage from a tornado. So when the threat goes from a tornado watch, which means there's favorable conditions for a tornado to form, to a tornado warning, which is there's been a tornado maybe spotted somewhere in your county, somewhere, then sirens will usually go off. And at that time, we usually just kind of calmly go into our closet, the most interior room of our house that doesn't have any windows, and we just quietly wait out the storm there. We might have to cancel some events that occur while you're waiting out that storm. It's never more than usually like an hour or so. I remember one year there was a threat of tornadoes on a final exam day for my kids' school, and so everybody just stayed home. We went into school a couple hours later. They rescheduled the final, and it was not a problem. In winter, we may get a week of some snow, maybe some ice. When we do get ice, we don't have all the equipment that people have up north, so until the sun comes out, it kind of stays on our roads for a while. So the schools shut down during that time, and most businesses will close unless you're in healthcare or something like that where you have to get to work. But the rest of winter and the fall, spring, the early hours in summer and the late evenings in summer make for some really beautiful weather where you can actually get out and enjoy recreation such as golf, tennis, walking, hiking, jogging, or boating all year round. Golfers especially like this because our courses never close like they do up north, where you maybe only have 6 months of playing golf. Around here you get to play golf or tennis all year long. Okay, con number 2 is public transportation. In Texas cities, we don't really have good public transportation, so you're going to need to have a car. We do have a bus system, but the majority of Fort Worth residents do not use that. And we do have a train that will get you from downtown Fort Worth to downtown Dallas and back. It'll get you to the airport and back. And we also have a trolley system that goes around downtown Fort Worth, so you're needing to move around downtown, that'll work. But for your daily job and buying your groceries, etc., you are going to need to have your own car. Con number 3 is safety. Fort Worth is a large city, so it unfortunately has some crime problems associated with that. But if you're wise where you go and what time you go out, and you're paying attention to your surroundings, you really will feel fairly safe around here in Fort Worth. I have lived in Fort Worth since 1998, and there's only one time where I didn't feel safe, and that was because of something happened in the apartment complex I was in. And so I just decided that it was time to move, and I wanted to move somewhere where I felt safer. So once I made that move, then I didn't have any more problems. It's the only problem I've ever had. The best thing for you to do is do your research. You can look up crime reports from the Fort Worth Police Department. Another great resource is bestplace.net, which allows you to compare cities. So you can compare Fort Worth with a city you know, or a city that's around you. And they have several different categories you can compare, and one of those is crime. But again, as long as you use wisdom and are paying attention to your surroundings, you should feel very safe in Fort Worth. All right, our 4th con is the public school system of Fort Worth ISD. Niche.com gives Fort Worth ISD a grade of B-. But again, Fort Worth is a large city, so there are several schools that bring down those scores. So that kind of can be explained. Now, Niche.com will share with you some of the higher ranked schools. So you can go and do your own research and find which schools are better performing, and you can just let me know which school boundaries you want to stay in, and we can get that done for you. Another great website for doing school research is on individual schools, especially, is greatschools.org. Another great thing to know about Fort Worth is that there are starting to be more and more charter schools in the area that are free, and they have different focuses. It might be fine arts, it might be STEM, it might be classical schools. So you can choose one of those, and they're free. There are also many private schools in the area, with some being religiously affiliated and some not being. Also, there are many, many families here in Fort Worth that homeschool, so you should be able to find a support group for that if that's something you want to do. So if you choose not to do the public school system, you really do have a lot of different options to choose from, and you should be able to find parents who are doing similar things as you.
And now for our fifth and final con, traffic. I know some people would say traffic is a con, but I think it's debatable, and I really struggled even calling it a con. Check out these videos of actual traffic in Fort Worth. The first video is a Tuesday morning at 8:15 a.m., driving on I-30 inside Loop 820 and headed toward downtown. We do have rush hour here in Fort Worth, but compared to other large cities, our rush hour is not bad at all. It mostly just depends on how far east you have to drive. The further east and closer toward Dallas, the worse your commute gets. The rush hour in Fort Worth mostly keeps moving at a pace of around 60 miles per hour, so that is a great commute in my opinion. The worst highway is traveling north and south on I-35 West, especially when you're headed towards Burleson. There are a couple small spots around the Mixmasters where traffic might slow down for a bit, like you see here, right where the different interstates are merging together, but then it quickly smooths out and traffic starts moving at about 60 miles an hour again. If you're traveling east on I-30 or I-20 or around the loop on 820, then your commute will not be bad. During the off-rush hour times, you can move around Fort Worth on the interstates very easily, traveling around 70 miles per hour with plenty of room on the roads. The only time the traffic really actually stops is if there is an accident or possibly due to road construction.
As a city of 900,000 people, over 900,000 people, Fort Worth is going to have some cons, but I have lived in Fort Worth for 25 years, and in making this video, I really did have to force myself to stop listing the pros because there are just so many of them. No matter what your interests are, you're likely to find great outlets for those interests. I love Fort Worth personally, and I believe you will too. Let me know in the comments what interests you the most about Fort Worth. I'd love to hear what you enjoy and what you're looking forward to if you're thinking of moving here. I love this quote from Money Magazine, which says, "Fort Worth offers big city arts and entertainment without the attitude and high prices of comparable metros." So whether you're moving in 6 days, 60 days, or 6 months, feel free to give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email. All that contact information is in the description below, and comment below about what was your favorite part of the video. And until next time, well, we hope to show you around town.